The life of Yuri Kochiyama is not known by many, but her legacy is remembered and kept alive. Her work as a civil rights activist inspired many throughout her lifetime and is still inspiring people today. Yuri Kochiyama was a Japanese American born in the 1920s. When Pearl Harbor was bombed in 1941, this event changed the life as well as many other Japanese Americans. After Pearl Harbor and the rise of anti-Japanese sentiment increased, the Executive Order 9066 was signed in 1942, and Yuri as well as her family were forced into internment camps. Her time spent in these camps is what sparked her drive to be an activist. Her first line of activism started when she moved to Harlem with her husband Bill. In Harlem, she showed leadership by participating in nonviolent protests to improve schools and job discrimination against Chinese Americans. Even from Yuri's apartment, she was a leader. She hosted social gatherings in her home that welcomed all people of different races and backgrounds. Yuri was also well known for her friendship with Malcolm X. At the time she met him, they were both fighting for civil rights for African Americans. Yuri was also present when Malcolm X was shot. His death was a big impact on Yuri and her family. The Kochiyama family began a newsletter in remembrance of Malcolm called the North Star. Continuing her leadership journey in the 1960s, when the Asian American movement began, she participated in many protests as well as served as a role model for other Asian Americans at that time. A main movement in the 1980s Yuri was fighting for was a redress for Japanese internment. Yuri and her husband worked with different organizations to demand reparations to Japanese internees. After much fighting, the Civil Liberties Act was signed to apologize to the Japanese Americans that were forced into internment camps. Yuri Kochiyama has a long record of leadership.
Asian Americans must be more vocal, visible, and take stands on crucial issues. Hopefully, Asians will side with the most dispossessed, oppressed, and marginalized, remembering our own history. We Asians need to reshape our image from the rather quiet, ambiguous, accommodating, uncomplaining, palatable people to a more resolute, sensitive advocate for human worth, human rights, and human dignity.
She continued her activism work even at her old age. She is seen as a role model to many Asian Americans because of her courage and passion for justice of civil rights. She is still remembered today even after her passing on June 1st, 2014.